Hey everybody, welcome back to Teatster. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 27-inch Samsung Odyssey OLED G6 gaming monitor. This monitor is a QHD panel and can reach up to 360 Hz at 0.03 milliseconds of response time. It features what Samsung is calling a sleek metal design with FreeSync Premium Pro. As far as design goes, the Samsung Odyssey G6 OLED is quite simplistic. It's not too busy, there's not a whole lot of gamer aesthetic going on, and I really do like this understated approach to monitor design. It's not too busy, and it's really easy to get it to blend in with the rest of your setup. As I pan around the screen, you'll notice the inky blacks. Now in saying this, a lot of you know that this panel does have a matte coating, which is something of a point of contention these days. But I can tell you, it really doesn't make that much of a difference when compared to a glossy screen. In fact, in my dimly lit room, you'd be hard pressed to notice it at all. And as far as image quality goes, I don't see any degradation in text clarity or graininess. Moving to the back, you'll notice there's an RGB ring that goes around the VESA mount. Under this, there's something that Samsung's calling their dynamic cooling system, using a pulsating heat pipe to prevent burn-in. The RGB light does look pretty cool when viewing from the back of the panel, but realistically, we're looking at the front, and the light that it shines onto the wall behind you isn't that noticeable. So it's just kind of a bonus feature, but not quite practical in its approach. So with that brief overview and introduction out of the way, we're going to get into the unboxing, and I'm going to show you how to set this thing up and what you can expect when you open up the box. Alright, first things first, get you a sharp object, something that you can use safely. I like to use an X-Acto knife. Now remember, as you are cutting, ensure you don't go too deep as to not damage something that's inside of the box. This packaging doesn't have a whole lot of extra tape, so getting into it was quite easy. When you open the box, you'll see your first set of styrofoam, and inside you'll find the simple user guide. In that package, you'll have a DisplayPort 1.4, your USB A to B upstream cable, you'll have your power brick adapter cable to plug into the wall, this does come with an HDMI 2.1 high-speed cable. Now there is your actual power brick. There's a little vinyl wrapper on this, and it tells you to remove it, otherwise it could cause a fire. So just go ahead and remove that. Be safe. And here is the stand and the back of the stand that goes into the VESA mount adapter. It's a toolless installation. And here is the base. The base is actually quite heavy. The stand is very robust. So, very happy with the build quality. Now, underneath that styrofoam tray is the actual panel itself. It's wrapped in a thin foam so as not to scratch the screen. The screen also has a peel on it, so very good packaging. And be careful as you remove the screen. Make sure you have it supported well. Get a hand under the bottom. Don't lift or pry anything, and just be very careful. So what you want to do is place the screen down on something soft and flat. And here is your back panel. So there's your 24 volt DC power input, your DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1 ports, your headphone jack, your USB output, your service USB, and your USB-B upstream port. And there's your power and also your menu button for navigating the menus. So I'm happy that Samsung went back to using full-size connectors on the back of their monitor. I do have the Samsung Odyssey G9 OLED with the mini DisplayPort, the mini HDMI 2.1, and only USB-C inputs, and I much prefer this. So moving on, now we're going to install the stand. So set your base down, get your stand, literally just place it on and turn it clockwise. And as you keep turning it, it will go down into place. And once you can't turn it anymore, it is good to go. Next, you're going to insert the VESA mount of the stand into the back of the panel. And you can see the two inputs on top for those top hooks. So you latch those in first and then just set it down into place and it will click. Once you do that, you're all set. Alright. Looking at the back now, you can see the rotation that it can do. So it can turn vertically all the way, horizontal, all the way vertical the opposite way. Now this is with the panel situated all the way at the top of the mount. And then here is your tilt and swivel. So that's as far as it tilts back. That's the downward tilt angle. It's not as extreme. It is a very solid stand. And this is your swivel. So yeah, there's plenty of articulation on this mount. Plenty enough for me. I will be getting a monitor arm for it just for having way more options and way more maneuverability. And here is me removing the peel and revealing that matte finish for the first time. The dreaded matte finish. But I do have a ring light shining on it right now. You can see how it dissipates that light at the top of the screen. But here is direct light from my phone when I'm up close. As I back up about 3 feet, you can barely make out that light. So it does handle reflections quite well. And it's not too distracting when viewing this monitor in person. So when you're setting this up, just go ahead and plug in your USB type B into the connector in the back of the monitor. That is going to run to your PC and it's going to allow you to use the USB port on the back so you can plug in your whatever you want to plug in, maybe your mouse or your keyboard. The last thing you want to do is get your power cord and plug that into the back of the monitor. Get it situated on your desk and plug it into your surge protector. Alright everybody, so we are now looking directly at the screen of the Samsung G6 Oled. And what I ended up having to do on the settings was, I can show you really quick. There's no remote that comes with this. It'd be much better if I had a remote. That's one, gotta be a knock from me. But it's a cost-saving measure. So when you go into the menu, here's what I have set. So I have adaptive sync turned on. The black equalizer, I found that the blacks were raised slightly when it's in the middle at 5. So if you click on this, the higher you go to 10, it's going to raise your black levels. So 5 still kind of looked washed out to me. So I'll have it set to 3. You can even go lower, but I like the way 3 looks. Virtual aim point turned off. Infinity core lighting, I have it on. You can kind of see in the background the lighting effect. It's not too noticeable. It looks cool if you're looking at it from the rear, but you know, it's just one of those things gaming monitors think they need to have on there. Screen size wide. Picture mode, I have it set to custom. Brightness 50, contrast 50, sharpness 10, color 30. That's what it comes out of the box. I know it's a gaming monitor, so they'd like you to have some oversaturated colors. And while I'm playing games, I think it looks cool. I just have it set to that. Now, when I go to edit videos, if I use this monitor, I'll turn that down so it actually looks more true to real life. Contrast enhancer, I have that set to high. HDR tone mapping is active. Color tone set to warm 1. Haven't messed with the white balance, gamma, shadow detail 0, color space settings, native, peak brightness set to high, and eye saver mode off. There's a picture by picture mode if you want to do that. And I did go ahead and update the firmware or software, and that was done by using a USB and downloading the firmware update software from Samsung and then putting it in the service USB port in the back and going through the updating that way. And that's about all I wanted to show you in the menu. So now we'll just take a look at a couple games. On screen right now at the moment, you're looking at Spider-Man Remastered on PC, running at max settings. Got HDR turned on. You're going to get about just a little over 1000 nits of peak brightness, and that is in a very small 2% window. So sustained brightness on a larger window, it's going to be a lot less. But when you're using HDR, what you're really looking for is those really super bright highlights. So from going from absolute as black as a black could get on screen to the 1000 nits is quite a huge difference. So your contrast levels are going to be great. And quantum dot OLED technology allows these colors to just pop. As Spider-Man swings through the city, you can see the sun just blaringly bright, and the colors really do look amazing. You'll also notice as I'm swinging around the city, even viewing through this camera lens, I'm capturing this at about 25 frames per second, but even viewing it at that frame rate, you can tell this is buttery smooth. I'm not getting no 360 hertz, but this is definitely about as smooth as it can get, and those pixel response times are just amazing. There's no ghosting. I have no motion blur turned on. This is just pure performance of the panel. And that's what you can expect from a game like Spider-Man. Looking at the footage now, in person it doesn't look as oversaturated. So looking at it right now, I can see how you could probably think like, oh yeah, it's just way too oversaturated. And I agree. So you can turn that down as you want, just to suit your tastes. But let's look at a game that can actually do 360 hertz. So here is Overwatch 2, and I just ran into like a pre-game like practice range type of scenario here. And as I was moving around and turning the camera, everything is just crystal clear. Motion clarity is off the charts with this thing. So in other esports titles and fast Twitch games, shooters, this monitor will really shine in those games. So if anything where you need really fast reaction times, where there's lots of moving parts on the screen, very aim intensive, you can't go wrong with this monitor. The Samsung Odyssey G6 Oled checks almost every box that gamers would want in a PC monitor. I'll be the first to admit that I did have my reservations about getting an OLED panel with a matte coating. I had a lot of doubts that a matte finish could possibly live up to the glossy, mirror-like finish on the LG OLED TVs, the Alienware monitors, and even the Samsung OLED G9. But I can tell you, without a doubt, this makes almost zero difference on this panel. So if you game in a brightly lit room or can't control the lighting, this monitor might be the perfect option for you. At the time of making this video, the price for this monitor is currently $650. At that price point, I can fully recommend you pick one of these up and just enjoy it for what it is, a great monitor. With that being said, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, like and subscribe to the video. And if you have any questions about the monitor and enjoyed this and want me to make some more content like this, please just let me know in the comments. And as always, have a great day. Teedster out.